In this video, we're going to talk about what is the leading factor of project success. In the last video, we looked at how to measure the success of a project. But here's the million-dollar question. What's the single most important factor that predicts your success in a project? Research shows that this particular factor alone can increase the chances of success with a project by 2.5 times. Yet most teams don't even talk about this before the work starts. I'm Jennifer Kenny. I'm the award-winning author of 100% Capacity and best-selling author of The Innovation Mindset. I'm here to help leaders and teams create conditions for extraordinary project outcomes. Today, I'm revealing the number one factor that drives project success and how to put it in place from day one. The standout predictor of project success is defining what success means for you and what success means for your customer. And I would extend that to say what success means for your customer's customer. And the reason why I say that is many times we do projects in a happy little bubble with our primary customer requesting that we produce certain applications or certain software for them. Now, as we move more into the age of AI, our cycle time for the development of those projects is getting faster and faster and faster. And our customer expectations are actually getting higher and higher. So one of the things that is essential for us to be able to manage in there, and I would even say to the point of where you would put more emphasis on that than you would necessarily on beginning to code or beginning to do the development, is that you put emphasis on the development and the design work. The development work is really understanding what value means for your customer. What sort of impact are they looking to have on the business? How do they think about value? What would it mean for them if this project was hugely successful? How would they use what you're offering them in a way that is different than anything they've done before? How are they going to integrate it into their business? Now, they don't have the answers to all of those things immediately. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm not a proponent of gathering requirements. I think requirements are actually a red herring for us because it assumes it has a common sense behind it that says that our customers know what they want. Now, no disrespect to our internal customers or our external customers, but 95% of customers don't actually know what they want. And what we're doing is we're looking to co-invent with them what that possibility is. And that possibility, as they become more educated in what it is that we can offer, that's going to shift and change over time. So if we focus exclusively on gathering requirements, thinking that our customer knows what they want and expecting them to sign off on a blueprint of what it is that they want on a project that could last for 9 months or 18 months or even 2 or 3 years, then what we're doing is we're setting ourselves up for failure. The world is changing at a pace much faster than would ever allow us to be able to get customers to sign off on a blueprint and simply deliver tech based on that blueprint. As we understand the world that our customers live in and the value that they're looking to bring to their customers, be they external customers or other internal customers within the company, then our understanding of what value and the impact that we can have continues to grow and expand at the same time. If we have a customer whose understanding of value and impact is growing as ours is growing, then by definition, the requirements for the project are going to move and shift over time. If we can't build that level of agility into what it is that we're doing, and we can help, AI is going to help us with a lot of that building in of agility, but if we can't build that in, we are setting ourselves up for failure. In the frameworks where I talk about engaging and co-inventing with the customer, I use the term conditions of satisfaction. The conditions of satisfaction are not necessarily exactly the same as the definition of success. The conditions of satisfaction are what is it going to take to satisfy the customer. The definition of success, I would say, takes it to another level and really understands more in depth what the impact is that the customer is looking to produce in their world and for the value that they're producing. Many times what we do is we tend to rush into the development phase of the work. We are most comfortable when we are building things. We are most comfortable when we are have our teams working really well against a deadline. One of the things that I really encourage the people I work with to do is to take a step back and spend more time understanding what value means for the customer. And that means sometimes doing listening tours with them, visiting their facilities with them, understanding exactly how they themselves are measured in terms of their OKRs or their KPIs. Our broader understanding of the business and the industry allows us to be able to be co-inventors of that definition of success with them. As we do that, we build a better understanding of the business. We're able to contextualize the value of the technology that we're bringing in a much more powerful way. The definition of success is really a good handle and a written agreement as to what that looks like at the beginning of the project, with the knowledge that that is going to merge and change over the duration of the project. Now, at the same time, we're trying to balance scope of the work that we're doing and the delivery that we're doing. We need to separate that out from our understanding of value. Because if we track our understanding of value over the duration of the project, we're going to be able to ideally stay close to the scope that we'd originally defined, but the agility is going to allow us to be able to pursue that definition of value more tightly with our customers. PMI's 2020 Pulse of the Profession report found that lack of clearly defined goals is the primary reason why projects fail, and they cited that in 37% of failures. Now, the thing about that is our reaction to that is to go and further try and nail down the requirements and nail down the definition of success. But I would really encourage you to understand that as we are operating in this incredibly fast pace of change, that our ability to be able to do that gets less and less. We are going to be co-inventing with our customers as we move through projects. And if we don't build in the feedback loops and the practices for doing that and help every member of our team be part of that work, then we are setting ourselves and our customers up for failure. Why this understanding and attention to definition of success beats all of the other factors is because without a clear definition, anytime someone asks for something to change, you see it as a scope creep. We have to help our teams understand how to be able to repurpose and contextually understand what it is that people are asking for. Yes, we need to be able to manage the scope, and yes, we need to be able to say no at certain times. But our clarity of understanding around what the definition of success is will allow us a lot more agility in terms of defining that with the customer. And many times what we're doing is we're negotiating. We're not saying, I'll do that if you do this. What we're saying is, okay, that means we're going to slightly reshape or reform our definition of success here, and that's going to allow us to be able to deliver more value down the road. We're taking certain things off the table, we're putting certain new things on the table. Our ability to be able to manage that and negotiate that is absolutely essential if we're going to take this definition of success approach. When you stay in close conversation and co-invention and co-design with your customer, what you're doing is you're setting yourself and your team up for a way of avoiding the misunderstandings and the overruns and the rework and the wheel spinning that happens when we don't have a clear understanding, a shared understanding with our customer of what it is that we are co-inventing together over the period of the project. McKinsey research says that projects that have aligned goals and success measures deliver 33% more value than planned. Now, that's above and beyond just the success of your project, but as you start thinking about this definition of success, remember, it's not a clearly defined goal because it's going to start as a clearly defined goal, but it's going to move and change over time as we educate ourselves and as we educate our customer, and as our customer understands how it is we work and the value that we can bring. So recognize that that agility needs to be built not just into the coding, but into the entire execution of the project. Let me give you 4 common definitions of project success. One is a clear deliverable, what exactly is going to be produced, but I would say that that's a clear value deliverable, what value is going to be produced and how are we going to pursue that value together and how are we going to leverage technology to pursue that value. I have worked on many projects where a customer will come in, an internal customer will come in and say, we need this tech to do X, Y, Z. And what we discover as we do this co-invention and co-design with them, that they are actually what used to be referred to as paving the cow paths. They are simply automating broken processes that they already have. If we don't have a clear understanding of what value means for them and we don't help them understand how to be able to understand and articulate that value for themselves, we are simply automating things that don't necessarily need to be automated. I had one huge project where we were looking to put in a lot more security capability into all of our technology. And as we started co-inventing with our customer what that was going to do for them, what we discovered was that human error was the biggest factor in all of our security breaches, and we were working in a highly secure environment. And so what we started off with was 3 months of educating our customers. We literally ran working sessions with them and workshop sessions with them to help them understand security, how to implement it, how to reduce the human error factor. We benchmarked the human error, and as we did those 3 months of work with them, which did not involve any technology other than the existing, what we discovered was that the human error factor could actually be reduced significantly. Once we'd done that, we'd already reduced the human error. Now we understood the technical aspects that we could bring to bear that would continue to increase our security and reduce our security breaches significantly. And they were much better educated around what it meant to actually have secure systems. So as you think about a project, don't necessarily think about it exclusively in terms of the technology. There's a lot of education and shared understanding that can be built that actually results in a smaller technology build scope and a much, much more successful project. The time frame is something that we are all very careful about, and largely because we live in a world where it's very easy to overpromise and underdeliver. As a matter of fact, the majority of projects do. And when we think about the time frame, I tend to think very much in terms of increments. If we are not delivering in small increments, we're giving up the opportunity to be able to build really powerful feedback loops. Shared context and standards. So what does success mean for the customer? How are we going to measure it? What does it look like? What impact is it going to have? And how are they going to report that impact for themselves? If we don't have that shared understanding at the beginning of the project and we don't understand the context that we're working in, what we're doing is we're setting ourselves up for failure. Many times, as I mentioned earlier, we rush into the work. The mutual agreement component is absolutely critical, because if we don't have a customer who has skin in the game, we are simply developing tech for the sake of tech. If we don't have a customer who's willing to co-invent with us and who we have trained to co-invent with us, then we are setting ourselves up for failure. Projects fail more often from unclear goals, because when we think about execution, we think about execution as being the technology development. We don't think about execution as being an integral part of the development and maintenance and management of those goals. So when you think about your projects, don't think about it in terms of we define the goals, that's done, and then we move forward. The understanding of the context, the value, the impact, and the goals is something that is going to be a thread that you're going to continue through the entire project. There is no one working in any organization today that can define goals that can have a 3, 6, 9, 12, 18-month impact and be absolutely confident that those are not going to change. As you think about your projects, remember that the definition of success and the constant feedback loops that you need, along with the management of scope and budget, are going to be absolutely essential for your project success. If you want a single powerful lever for success, make sure that you define success together with your customer before you begin, and recognize that that definition is not a one and done. It is a constant management and maintenance and feedback loops and conversations and co-invention throughout the entire project. If you found this video useful, I strongly recommend that you also look at the video I did earlier, which is how do we measure the success of a project. That'll give you the broader context. There's a link for it down below in the comments. I look forward to hearing your thoughts about it, and best of luck.